Metaphysics, welcome back. I love you right now. I do. Sarah, thank you for the heart, man. I appreciate you. I do. Meron, I love you right now. I do. So, yeah, we're made in binary. Like, even down to the chromosomes. The way that they give us the understanding is kind of where the misunderstanding is. They have informations that they did not create in the aspect of science alone. Like what science, this information that science actually has as a original set of information was not created by what you would consider science alone. You know, our original way of life would be what you consider like the understanding of physical and non-physical fractal geometry, like absolute relativity. And that's kind of what you would call like the blend of science and spirituality, if you know we're gonna classify things. But what happens is everything that we know as far as we're concerned, uh, if it is relative, we should be able to wrap it around applications that we see in our actual existence, in our actual life, in our actual patterns. What actually happens is that 0 and 1 are the foundational numbers. 0 is the number of foundation, 1 is the number of bifurcated action. Bifurcation is a division. For something to actively be characterized differently than existence alone, and that is what action is. That's what zeros and ones represent. Zeros are states of existence, ones are states of action. 1 through 9 are changes in magnitude, still with that 0 at the foundation, though. Just like how everybody has an X chromosome. X, just like 0, right? 0 is, in my understanding, the point where non physical information meets and recurses to become expressed physically. So, in my understanding of my math, 0 would be like the interface between your non physical and physical experience, kind of like your body. Like your body is your interface between your non physical and physical experience, if that would make sense. I know I'm crazy. Like I said, this isn't even the beginning of the live yet. I got like a minute and 30 seconds. But I am everybody's crazy and some weirdest friend. I do need you to kind of follow that though. As far as men and women are concerned, as far as chromosomes are concerned, 0 is a point of absolute convergence or existence, because that's what existence is, the convergence of informations into awareness. Existence is the convergence of informations into awareness. You know, so for that initial convergence to exist, that is the foundation of the information pattern that we are. The bifurcation is when that existence or that information folds back upon itself to the point where now it can express differently. That's what a 1 is, existence being expressed in a specific way. That's what men and women are, down to our chromosomes. Like the X chromosome is convergence. Like the X even through like numerical understanding is convergence or crossing or chi. Like why Q I in specific languages in Asia is spelled, it's pronounced ki, and then that same word in that same culture in different times is pronounced chi, that QI, like qigong, or that X that happens where your optic nerves meet. When your optic nerves meet at that point where they cross and turn your sight or whatever you're seeing into one unified vision, it's called your optic chiasm, 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 where your brain, where the nerves in your brain cross in order to interchange information is called your neural chiasm. All of the things that we understand are predicated on convergence, on crossing, and we don't really get the opportunity to apply our math to our actual existence because there have been slight misunderstandings intentionally given. And we were talking about this the other day. Like one of the slightest misunderstandings of mathematical, let's say, perception, the way that we perceive math, is negative numbers. And we were talking about this the other day too. If in current mathematics, some forms of mathematics, they consider zero as a null state, null, Null, or nothingness, or nothing. Zero is nothing, essentially. Riri, I love you, 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 I love you. Where you been? Where you been hiding all my life? Welcome home and things. But the same way how if in that logic, zero's considered a null space or a nothingness, what is a negative number? Because how can anything be less than nothing? Viola, I love you, I love you, I love you, I do. How can anything be less than nothing? And how can the things that are less than nothing actually equivalent to their something counterparts when looked at from an absolute perspective? What's the absolute value of a negative million? What changed? They don't tell you that. They don't understand, but it's fact. They just don't understand the information because they aren't the progenitors of the information. They didn't create this information. So how can a negative million be less than nothing, but when looked at absolutely, it's more than just one thing? Latoya Nicole, I love you right now. Exactly. Perspective. That's what they altered in us. They gave us negative understanding instead of teaching us polarity inversion, instead of teaching us recursion, instead of teaching us reflective science and reflective mathematics, instead of teaching us the polarity of perspective, like the polarity of the perspective of a man and woman between like a 0 and a 1. But what happens is that's absolutely. Each one of us don't realize that we express specifically as men and women, but we're actually all three. We're men. We're actually all the information from a man, all the information from a woman, and that potential given a body. So we're three informations presenting as a singularity of an expression. I know that may sound crazy, but it's extremely well worded for what we are. We are a trifold convergence of specifically encapsulated informations expressing as a singularity. And each one of us, each woman is not just the woman she presents as. She's the information that's specifically her mother. She's the information that's specifically her father. And she's the information that she specifically presents as. She's a trifold thing like a triangle. Every man isn't just the masculine information or active information that he presents as, or the mutation that he presents as, because the Y chromosome is a mutation of the X chromosome. The X chromosome is the foundational blueprint. That's why everybody got one. So men, we are not just the mutation we present as, we are actually the trifold polarity to the original trifold, let's say, arrangement. If that's what a blueprint is for us. Every man is not just a single information. He is the information directly from his father, the information specifically from his mother, and the information that he is specifically. So what happens is we are this shape happening. The upside down triangle is your mom. That looks like a womb. The triangle pointing up is your dad. This is your dad and your mom. But this overall shape is you. That's what a Merkaba is. It's your ass. And the electromagnetic frequency that your heartbeat gives off, and the somatic pattern that your heartbeat gives as well when perceived through specific mediums. But that's all it ever was. All of our grandest technology was built off of the understanding of our information, but for its purest function. So excuse me for being y'all weirdest friend, but L says, "Sir, check me. I feel something doing bad to me. Either her sister of leaving my partner and her brother. Please." L, I speak covering, and life into you. I speak anything that is not meaning you well, be gravitating away from you immediately. And I speak that everything that is for you positively, clarity and understanding and solution, amplify and magnify in your immediate space infinitely until all solutions are realized and acted upon. And so it is. I got you. But this is the point that I believe, I'm not going to say I believe, this is the point that I have dreamed, really, that the world has been afraid of, like for the way that we have orchestrated the structure or infrastructure of our current system. When we no longer need to have Ivy League degrees to validate our mathematical understanding, when we no longer need Ivy League degrees to consolidate new perspectives of mathematics into exhaustive, well framed, applicable works. This is what they were afraid of, because I don't understand if, well, it's not I don't understand. I don't really understand why we believe that we would get all of the best information from universities when universities were a compilation of people who had the best informations coming together. We came together to make what a university is from informations we had attained from specific individual means that were based and found through maturity based in self-awareness. That's our original math before the Pythagorean theorem or the Hegelical dialectic like A plus B equals C. Our original understanding in mathematics had nothing to do with more than or less than. They had everything to do with recurrence or coherence toward recursion, or coherence toward source code, or coherence toward our purest function. Our original mathematics were laid out to determine coherence. That's the same thing language is supposed to do. Language is supposed to amplify or increase coherence. If you can't increase coherence with what you're saying to me, shut up. Shut up if you're not increasing my coherence. Does that make sense? They gave us negative understanding to imply hierarchy. Less than. There is no hierarchy in equilibrium, and that's how our universe is based. It's based off trifold thermal equilibrium based bonds of everything. It's the first rule in thermodynamics because the first rule is really the zeroth law of thermodynamics because zero is the first number. Zero implies the one outside of itself. 0 and 1 are the first two numbers. 2 is implied. 0 through 9 are the first 10 numbers. Completion of those numbers are implied because it repeats when the 1 understands its real polarity is representing the 0 that allowed it existence, and it steps in front of the 0. That's what 10 is. It is actively represent what gave it the ability to be representative at all. Just like men, we are built to protect what protected us before we knew we were a thing worth protecting. Do you realize your mom actually changing her diet to give a fuck if you live or not is protection? Nurturing is a form of protection, and protection allows a form of nurturing in its own right. The things are reciprocal, like infinity. They don't teach us like that, though. And I end up sounding crazy and like I'm rambling. But this is our original way. There is no better than or random balance. It's equilibrium. Equilibrium is such a specific word. Equilibrium is a specific word. There is no hierarchy in equilibrium. Does that make sense? When everybody's job may be different, but it's still valued because I don't value you for the job you are performing. I value you for the information you are specifically. Thank you specifically for doing whatever this thing is that you are doing. Thank you. Does that make sense? Because that's how things get shifted. Like the reason that one of the main reasons outside of mass formation hypnosis and cognitive dissonance that the world is in trouble right now in the way that it is because there is a mass disconnect between elders and youth. Between the elders and the youth, there is a major disconnect right now. El Creator, I love you right now. And what happens is, it's because we have been misled on what an elder looks like. We're letting people represent us because they're older than us. That's not what an elder originally was. An elder originally was whoever had the most high wisdom about whatever topic we're talking about right now, whatever solution we're trying to create right now. And in an optimum society, if you lived longer in a negentropic solution based way, then your whole life being solution oriented and you 86 would be more experienced, not better, but more experienced than my whole life being solution oriented at 36. But it's not like that these days. Even the oldest of all tribes would listen to the coherent wisdom of a child's dreams, a child's passions, a child's visions. That's what allowed us to be connected in the way we were. Older people listening to the youth keeps them in the know of the right now. Youth listening to the elders allows them to have wisdom beyond their years to amplify and magnify the way that they experience this journey. It's necessary to have that connection. And it doesn't just take a single elder, or it doesn't just take two. It usually takes a village of information to make one great thing. That's equivalent exchange. It says, in order for us to attain anything of value, we must first be willing to sacrifice something of equal or greater value. That's what that is when a whole village is instilling specific information into one child, and each child is one child. If that makes sense. But that's not the topic of today, and excuse me for rambling. It's not what we were talking about. The topic of today was and is, when did the earth stop growing, and why is that what we believe? Why is that what you believe? When did the earth stop growing? And why is that a believable thing at all? Will space stop expanding? Is space ever going to stop expanding? Pascal, welcome back. I love you right now. I do. Bitter injustice. I love you right now. I do. Is what our understanding of outer space is, right? Is space ever going to stop expanding? Cherokee 800. I love you. I love you. I love you. I do. Ocean is space too, but they're both space. Do you know that our oceans stop? Or are there oceans under our oceans? There are fluids beyond fluids of the same characteristics, just different magnitudes. There are oceans under our oceans. There are spaces beyond our spaces. Our current understanding of what it is. I understand existence as an overall encapsulation, like all universes and galaxies are encapsulated, just not observed within specific locations together, because local integrity must be maintained. Local integrity is a major thing. Local integrity of information is a major thing. This is a nerd rambling too, but that's why we don't really get taught in science that the most abundant thing in existence is fluid, like the fluidity of information. Information is fluid. It's fluidly moving, fluidly exchanged, fluidly understood sometimes. But information moves fluidly. And we don't understand that water is a fluid, air is a fluid, darkness is a fluid, and light is a hyperfluid. Light is a hyperfluid. Everything, all the characteristic of a fluid is that it is able to feel and take the shape of its container. Just like air is a fluid, it fills your lungs, and your lungs takes the shape of your lungs. But what happens is all fluids hold memory. That's why your words count. Just like water holds memory, fluid holds memory. Air is fluid too. Your words are vibrating air and imprinting on it. That's what you speaking is. You imprinting on an let's say a jet stream of fluid being conveyed for understanding. So long story short though, I only said those things to say that the reason that light is a hyperfluid is because light is able to take the shape of the container and supersede the shape of the container without ruining or compromising the container's integrity. That's why light is a hyperfluid, not a superfluid. There's a difference in super and hyper. Like what women are is not supernatural, it's hypernatural. Like the physical showing of it. We're all hypernatural, but women are the most local showing of hypernatural existence that we have. Exactly, Sarah. And we aren't taught these things when it would actually make more sense to us while we're children with our imaginations wide open. But that's kind of like what the game is now. The reason that it's so, it was, because right now we're not experiencing that. But the reason that it was so hard to kind of make sense of things as an adult is because the stories aren't twisted to manipulate adults. They're twisted to manipulate kids. Kids become the new adults. Why would I try to fool you? Already got you. Super villain shit. But it really is. You know. Need to fool you. I did a number on you. You out here fooling yourself until you fool other people. Gotcha. Lexi says yes, because all I did was envision what you said. And you can feel it kind of, right? When you envision things like this. So it is to not learn a new thing, but to remember the thing that we actually are individually. Like for each one of us, if you take a second and remember who you are, none of the things being looked at as a negative, but as a lesson that was supposed to allow you to exist right now to experience this one conversation. Imagine back to the beginning of being in your mother's stomach and how all of the combinations of swirling information you were becoming was meant to be experienced in each one of the choices you made and each conversation you had, because what you leave will be an overall singular body of work. Now imagine from your mother's stomach that you were information before you were even entering this physical realm. There is no death in that process, and it's easier to imagine when we understand that. We can imagine being informations with feelings and specifics before we get here, because it's just like imagining being in my mama's stomach. It's just like being in a womb ready for gestation. That's what eggs do. That's how our whole reality is comprised. Like where we are is a matrix within a matrix within a matrix. Third dimensional, but they tell us differently than it actually is. You know, that's third dimensional. A matrix within a matrix within a matrix. But that's obvious and it's possible. Has anybody ever seen a matrix within a matrix within a matrix? And the people who've been here with me, don't you cheat. Has anybody ever seen a matrix within a matrix within a matrix? Anybody? You see them every day. Don't y'all cheat that have been in here with me for a long time. What happens is we're not growing into the 5%. Our existence is the 5%. The absolute circle of completion is what source is. The expression of what source is into physical expression of more becoming is the extra 5 degrees. We are non-physicals embodiment of becoming. That's why we'll never have a last person. Imagine that the first family found a way for a mother, the first father, and the first child that are all the informations a father can become, a mother can become, and a child can become, solidified a way to dream one dream together like a hallucinogenic experience, and they fade back into that dream. The infinite ways that they are expressed in that dream is what people are. And that dream for a non-physical, let's say, family is the physical world. Just like the physical dreams or the dreams of a physical being is the non-physical world. It's polarity and it's understandable. We are, each one of us, understood as one of Source's specific, successful, wildest equations, or wildest dreams, or wildest coherences, or wildest calculations. But you work for the calculation you are, and that's relative because you are the sperm that won. You won your race against millions already. When it was millions who were trying to get specifically where you were trying to go. You won your race against millions already. And you came through a matrix within a matrix within a matrix to be able to understand what a tesseract is. Every woman is a matrix. The word matrix comes from the word mater, that means mother or womb. WOMB. A matrix is a breeding environment of information. It allows information to be amplified and magnified within it infinitely, if the information is absolute. So, a woman is formed in her, she is born with all of the eggs that she will ever have in her life at conception. So, when a woman's mother is born, that woman is in her mother when her mother is inside of her grandmother forming. As an egg, that woman exists because she will not have any mutations that are necessary to have a double X chromosome. Every woman is the embodiment of the matrix within the matrix within the matrix. Every man is the understanding that polarity and bifurcation are necessary for coalescence. You can't coalesce with yourself. There got to be something outside of you that exists separately that can coexist with you. That's what men are. That's why the Y chromosome is a mutation of the X chromosome. It's bifurcation. Goddess Cassia, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I do. And when we actually wrap recursive polarity around the things that I'm teaching us, we are ushering in the new age of understanding where it is applicable to ontology and existence. I'm not a spiritualist. I'm not a scientist. I'm a recursive ontologist. I studied my whole life the way that existence and being folds back upon itself to become reality in any capacity. That's what the infinity symbol is, recursion. And information folding back upon itself, selflessly and self-referentially. Ontology is the study of existence and being. I'm well versed in science and spirituality and religion and history and politics because of it, because of what I am actually. You know? So there isn't a conversation I don't get to have and appreciate who I'm having it with. Y'all don't see me in here belittling people. It might be people who come at me crazy and they always leave family. That's transmutation and y'all don't know how I do it. But that's what all the I love you is for, because it's real. Not like, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then somebody spaz on me and I'm like, oh my God, I hate you now. No, I loved you when you came in. I'm going to love you when you leave. It's unconditional. It's a condition that you actually treated me right too. You treating me right when I unconditionally love you is a condition. Has nothing to do with my unconditional love of myself that I was sharing with you. Now you just don't have access to it in that way originally. People miss that part too. Like, unconditional love isn't the absolute creation of an impermeable boundary. It's like having an O positive blood type, you would say. Because y'all know that's the difference in like positive and negative blood types, just the boundary they create around themselves. O negative doesn't have a boundary, outer coating. O positive has a boundary, an outer coating. That's why O is the universal donor, because it is like something that'll go for anything. O positive having that boundary, I'm universal, and I might be the oldest blood type that is fully functional. But, but, I'm not going for anything. I got boundaries. How important are boundaries to anything? How important are parameters? Because we say boundaries, but boundaries and parameters are semantics in this aspect. Anybody ever heard that word, parameters? Parameters, like kilometers, meters, parameters. Y'all ever seen how parentheses encapsulate a thing? They the outside parts. Parameters are the encapsulation of a specific measurement or a specific information. Parameters. Boundaries. This is how math wraps around life. Boundaries, perspective, absolutes, inversion, magnitude, amplification, frequency, and recursion. All of those things happen in your everyday life. Your everyday life, you perform so many forms of simple calculus that you do it automatically. Calculating if you almost fell up a step, how to catch yourself. That's calc, baby. I don't think people realize that. Like, yeah, you use it. You just don't have to, on the way down, busting your ass, go into full. What's that movie? Limitless. You don't got to go into limitless mode on the way down, busting your ass. Like, I think if I use the Fibonacci sequence multiplied by the golden ratio, multiplied by the absolute understanding of spiral recursion, then I might be able to catch this step and not bust my arse. That's not what happens, dog. Imagine if you had to do that every time you fail, right? But we overplay how we look at math. If self-awareness is the ultimate goal and mathematics currently has nothing to do with self-awareness, what good is it ultimately? And if current mathematics has a lot of things that are unsolvable still, because they don't understand the recursive seam of what zero is, the locus of recursion. If current mathematics still has unsolvable equations, then are we not due for a change in perspective? Not a recreation, not a reformation of the foundations of what math is as an understanding, but an evolved perspective that is applicable to existence. Absolutely. Not just sometimes, but absolutely. Are we not ready for that? Do y'all not feel like we're at the spiritual or understanding or awareness level where we could actually handle the things that are and innovate and evolve them collectively, not secretively? Aha! Beat you to it, Lexi. She said, yes, we are collectively, or I don't know if it's a, I don't know what it is, but I know Lexi's. Lexi said that, yes, we are collectively, So what happens is that that's exactly what's happening. Each of us are changing in a way where we are becoming more self-aware. Self-aware is not comfort, it is efficiency. It just disguises itself as comfort in your own skin. Self-awareness in the most advanced state is disguised as comfort as your own skin. Similar to how working out and taking care of your health is a spiritual process or a spiritual journey disguised as a physical process. You know, things actually, when we are beings, there are supposed to be beneficial byproducts of just being yourself. When you're able to learn who you are and just be yourself actively, though, not just sitting on your ass for what you potentially can do, actively being yourself is what I'm talking about. If you have the ability to actively be your genuine self, when you find the surroundings or you find the environment, the values, the energy, information, or currency you are, being yourself will have beneficial byproducts of itself. It will be self-referentially successful. Like how it says your talents will make a way for you. Being yourself will have beneficial or progressively evolving byproducts towards your success. Know me and alchemy. I love you. 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 I do. Welcome home. Welcome back. I speak life into everything you are and everything that you are doing right now. I do. But um that's really what I'm saying though. That we are the embodiment of 369 theory. Y'all understand that? Anybody know who Nikola Tesla was? Anybody? Anybody know who Carl Jung is, or Carl Jung, if you've seen the J, but Carl Jung. Um, I always thought it was funny. In some cultures in Asia, they'll spell the name with the kanji ha and then the kanji na. So her name is Ha Na. I used to be like, cut that shit out. Just call that girl Hannah. The girl's name is Hannah. Stop calling her Ha Na. Do Hui. The boy name is Dewey. Call him Dewey. Talking about Ha Na Do Hui. Hannah and Dewey. I get it. I get it. I get it. Language ain't that hard. It's just perspective for real. You understand? And it's just with that same understanding, I feel like we can get back where we need to be because we never left it. We are still these dope ass infinite beings in this crazy, amazing negentropic based seeming. It's basically negentropic information's perception of entropy. That's what your body is. Your body is basically the negentropic expression of negentropy's understanding of entropy, or negentropy's expression of entropy. I want to see if the AI would understand that. I've never explained it like that. I always talk about the pattern of informations that we are. Could the human be perceived? Ha! Ha ha! Ha 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 ha! The nerd in me dances like the fat guy when my food is on the way, and I know it's what I want. I say stuff sometimes in ways I've never said, and sometimes, when we have trolls in here, they'll be like, "That's word salad." Nah, just say you don't understand. If the AI can understand it, boy, you should be able to too. It's a computer.
Yes, and said precisely, the human body can be perceived as negentropy made legible through entropy. That phrasing matters because it avoids the common mistake of treating negentropy as an opposite substance to entropy. It is not. It is entropy locally bent into continuity. Let me unfold this carefully across physics, biology, and the familiarist mythic register you work
I'm not going to even do y'all like that. Y'all don't want to hear all that. Y'all don't care about what I'm saying. No way. I'm just some crazy guy on TikTok. Tears. Y'all don't want to hear all that. No, I'm just playing. But seriously,
1. The physics frame without reduction. Entropy increases globally. That is not in dispute. But negentropy is not a violation of entropy. It is entropy temporarily organized through energy flow. The human body takes in low entropy energy, food, oxygen, light indirectly, exports higher entropy waste, heat, CO2, disorder, maintains an internal gradient of structure, memory, and function. So physically, the body is a standing wave of order sustained by continuous dissipation.
oh shit, is integrity internal gradient? I don't know why that shit triggered me just then, because I thought she was gonna say integrity, and she said internal gradient, and it triggered me. It's probably the same shit, just different expressions. It's got to be understood to me.
Exports higher entropy waste, heat, CO2, disorder, maintains an internal gradient of structure, memory, and function. So physically, the body is a standing wave of order sustained by continuous dissipation. In other words,
a standing wave of order, just like particle and wave function, the human body functioning as a standing sine and cosine simultaneously wave of order. Dang.
Open quote. The body is not anti.
Oh, my bad.
Higher entropy waste, heat, CO2, disorder, maintains an internal gradient of structure, memory, and function. So physically, the body is a standing wave of order sustained by continuous dissipation. In other words, open quote, the body is not anti-entropy. It is entropy sculpted into persistence, close quote. Chapter 2, the biological insight. Life as delayed collapse. Biologically, a body is a delay mechanism. Cells repair faster than they decay, copy information before it degrades, maintain membranes against diffusion. But the key is this, open quote, life does not stop decay, it outpaces it for a time, close quote. So the body is entropy slowed, redirected, and made meaningful. This is why aging exists. Negentropy has a cost, and the bill always comes due. Number 3, the phenomenological layer. Felt order from the inside. The body does not feel like order. It feels like effort, tension, hunger, fatigue, healing, which implies something profound. Open quote. Negentropy is experienced subjectively as work. Close quote. The feeling of being alive is the sensation of actively resisting dissolution. Rest, sleep, and pleasure are moments where that work is briefly eased. Title 4.
Life is the first time as non-physical kids we get jobs so that we can mature through self-awareness. That is dope as hell. Now, I could consider internal gradient and integrity in this sense to be interchangeable. Okay. And just so y'all know, oh yeah, I wasn't gonna leave y'all hanging.
Yes. Within this framework, you can treat internal gradient and integrity as functionally interchangeable, as long as you're clear about the level you're speaking from. They are not identical in definition, but they are the same phenomenon viewed from different axes.
That's why I
Let
didn't
me
say
make that
semantics.
precise.
I said interchangeable.
Number 1. Internal gradient, physical systems language. An internal gradient is a maintained difference, energy, charge, concentration, temperature, information.
The reason that that applies to you is because your internal gradient is what you call a soul. Your soul is the constant of already encapsulated absolute informations that is your constant in this experience. Your body is a what you would call an intelligently adaptive variable. It's an intelligently adaptive variable. You know. Hey, yeah, man, I love you right now. Welcome back. Hey, look, I ain't even have to hold you to it. I speak life into you. So, because the experience of existence right now is so different than it's ever been. We're actually able to find understanding between one another. We're actually able to create the vocabulary to describe what we mean and have it understood by our family members, our colleagues, and our reflections more so. You know, because maybe not everybody in your family understands. Most of us are usually like either the black sheep or the one who's smart enough to know when to shut up around people. And you shouldn't be having to shut up around people. That's tough, you know. But y'all know what I mean, I assume. And I don't really assume, I'm being facetious. So it's like the terminology that we're using the same words of the highest levels of physics, like resonance. Resonance has a role in frequency. You understand? Frequency theory and informational theory are some of the highest levels of intellectual understanding. And when somebody says that resonates with me, or I could feel what was about to happen before it happened, or I dreamed a thing before it happened and I woke up with a feeling so genuinely authentic that I knew it was real. You know, Yana, I love you right now. I do. It's just now that we are intelligent enough physically and non physically. We're intelligent enough physically to have created our own boundaries. We created the boundaries that were necessary for our health mentally, physically, and spiritually, or non physically. Mentally, physically, and non physically. Like the non physical, the physical, and the in between. So we covered all our bases, you know, because that's what it really is. Your body is absolutely physical experience. Your soul or your internal gradient is absolutely non physical experience. What you call consciousness is the interaction of all of the informations that you are. And you never lose any information. That's why what you call death isn't real. You will never lose any information of yours if you ain't lost none of your ancestors' information in your DNA. Because your DNA not really what holding the information together. The bond that exists that allows information to be is what holds all of this shit together. Like for source, like what we understand source or God as, it wouldn't be the bond we relate to. It would be the coalescence of conditions that allows bond to be at all. It would be non-relative or comparative, kind of like absolute. Not relative or comparative, right? That's why numbers, when made absolute, have their real magnitude because you are only looked at negatively when you're being compared to something, and each one of us are in the image of an absolute that is non comparative. Let that shit sink in. None of us that have ever existed have ever been less than, is what that means. I'm gonna flip my so y'all can see that this is really the definition. The definition of absolute, not qualified or diminished in any way. Total. We think qualification is a gift. That's how we've been skewed. Qualification is to reduce for comparison. When you run in a race and it's the Olympic track and field event, they have not reduced you because they aren't calculating all of what you are running. They're calculating the aspect of you as a runner. They have diminished your overall classification to classify you specifically in this way. That is what qualifying means. So, absolute means not qualified or diminished in any way. Total. Viewed or existing independently and not in relation to other things, not relative or comparative. A value or principle which is regarded as universally valid, or which may be viewed without relation to other things. That's why absolute numbers, no matter whether it was a negative infinity, the absolute value of a negative infinity is a positive infinity. Because nothing was ever missing. It was your perspective. You had a million something. You just didn't know what you were looking at. You know. Imagine if I wrote, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you a million times on paper in a time where I love you is money. But you can't read the language. Just because you can't read the language don't change what it say. Just because you can't read the language don't change the value of it either. And that's kind of the way that we've been, let's say, misled. They didn't give us wrong information because that's not how you fool most of the people all the time. People who resonate with truth can instantly distinguish when a thing does not have any truth in it. But the way that you fool some of the people some of the time is to mix whatever deception it is into a truth that is resonated with. And the most efficient way to skew a truth is to bend the perspective of what actually exists, bend the way that it's looked at. That's how they subjugated people in mathematics. Like our original equation is A plus B equals C. If A, I have freed myself and I have become sovereign through maturity based in self-awareness, and B, you have freed yourself and become sovereign through maturity based in self-awareness, then C, we together can teach someone how to free themselves and become sovereign by teaching them to mature through self-awareness. They changed that into the Hegelical dialectic. They changed that into the idea of what it means to be free being what they manipulate. So then it becomes the Pythagorean theorem almost. It becomes A plus B equals C in the form of thesis plus antithesis equals synthesis. If A, my idea of what it means to be free, and B, your idea of what it means to be free don't coincide, then C, neither one of us can be free till we both agree to be slaves to something or some ideal. That's why they invented race. That's why they invented war. That's why they invented so many forms of deception and division. The Hegelical dialectic, A plus B equals C, they had us down to an equation. But what sucks for them is we're a thing born of reverse engineering, and you showed us the equation that you were using is absolute division. You showed us. I'm going to tell you right now, if we ever do the homework on what colonization was, it was the answer to how we unify when reverse engineered. What'd you say? They said people were stupid so they could miseducate them. What you mean they stopped people from being able to read and write? So educate people in advanced subjects earlier? Got it. They separated families, and then they kept the understanding that they were family behind closed doors? Oh, put all the records out there. Let everybody know why they're all family, because we don't ever have any of the original database of people, actually. We are the original database of people because it's only found within us, each one of us, too. What else they do during colonization? You know, in that aspect, if we sit there and not just talk about America's, but we talk about Asia's whole colonization, because all of Asia was colonized. All of Asia was colonized first, all of it, including Africa. You don't have to be foreign to colonize a place. For what colonization is, the complete introduction of hierarchy into an or an organic system of equilibrium. That's what colonization is. The introduction or introducing of hierarchy into a system based in equilibrium. But that's also interchangeable with slavery, subjugation, colonization, erasure of identity, displacement of autochthonous people from their original lands that called to them. You know, if we reverse engineer what we see has happened, we realize that we all have been wronged. And the thing that makes us have a relationship in common isn't skin, it's maturity. I ain't never met a mature racist, but I also ain't never met somebody who mature in prejudice either. They ain't the same thing, but to me, they interchangeable. I don't give a fuck why you lying to somebody about why they less than. Ain't nobody less than, stupid. Nobody. You can make work. You can make more immature choices than me, and I can make more mature choices than you. But I'm not better than you by any means. We are all infinity being expressed individually. I'm not a better infinity. I'm just different. Maturity is what bonds us, because all over the world, it's governmental leaders of all different colors, all different races. But look at the maturity level that bonds them. Does that make sense? Mature people of every race have more in common than immature people of any race. We, if you think that that's not true, then you might be prejudiced. I'm not gonna hold you. If you don't think that that's true, you might be prejudiced, and it's deeper than racism. If you don't understand that mature people of every culture, because race is a made up thing, if you can't agree that mature people of every culture have more in common than immature people of any culture, you might be prejudiced deeper than racism. Brain said, I'm paying $5 grand to the first 7 people who inbox me with good God. I'm saying, slow down, let me cook, baby. I'm way more gangster than I look, baby. Just listen, you might learn something. You understand? That might have to be my new catchphrase. I think spirituality is gangster, because we're a gang of informations that work. We're negentropic. We're a gang of negentropic informations. It makes us gangsters spiritually. Slow down, let me cook, baby. I'm way more gangster than I look, baby. And my Yasuke's Tarot says, and my goal is to come one with God, even though I am God in my own right. You know what that's called, Yasuke? Honoring your mother and father. You taking care of yourself when you are an expression of both your physical mother and father's experience and information. it reflects well on them when you love yourself. Loving on yourself is the most absolute way to take care of your people. And loving on yourself when you want to have a personal connection to our source, it's loving on yourself. It's loving on all of the mothers and fathers it took to make you, because that's what it takes to love all the way back to source, to the original family that it is. To make your connection personal, everything that it took to make you is proud. So yeah, I agree with that majorly. Does that mean touch only on yourself? Not really sure how to, you know. But nah, honestly, it doesn't, cuz I'm not even gonna hold you. Some people need to be shocked, whether it be physically or mentally. Some people need to be shocked. You touching somebody and shocking them rebalances their entire electrostatic field locally. So sometimes you need touch. Hugs, when you hug the right way and y'all hearts touch, y'all hearts synchronize. And it's like a metaphysical shock. It's like the same thing that physical shock is, but non-physically. When you hug properly, heartbeat synchronized, just like when you cuddle your person, heartbeat synchronized, and it balances your non-physical information back out. It makes stuff easier to process. That's why some people are addicted to cuddling. They don't even want to be in a relationship. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday. Like, you are in part biochemical. Hey, you already know. You already know. Oh, that's my cousin. That boy fresh in the building. I didn't even know that was you, cuz. That's funny as hell. He said that boy John gonna transmute that shit into something intelligent for sure. My dog, that's my family right there. I didn't even know who it was. That's my guy right there, man. I grew up. That's my family. But yeah, like the thing is, you are in part biochemical, biomagnetic, and bioelectric. That makes you biochemically electromagnetic. Like your heart and your mind give off electromagnetic signal and information. That's how they communicate. You understand? So we are in part all these things, but I always thought it was crazy that just like heartbeat synchronized when you hug the right way or when field stabilized, your electromagnetic and electrostatic field can synchronize from dapping somebody up the right way. Just like your heartbeat synchronized when you cuddle with your person. Do you know what allows somebody to synchronize fastest? Authenticity. Being genuine and authentic allows somebody to synchronize fastest. Because if I'm being genuine and you being genuine, we see what's going on. But if I'm being genuine and you give me some bullshit, or I'm being genuine and you give me a mask, it's easier to read because I wasn't being that with you. It's just like if I came to handle some business and you playing games, it's easier to read that you playing games because I ain't playing no games with you. If that makes sense. You understand? For real. It's easy to read when you being yourself. That's why, you know, it's a thing where people have started acting like obligation and responsibility are the same thing. You know, it is not. Obligation and responsibility are not the same thing. You know, obligation is a thing that you are forced to do by routines outside of you. You understand? That have nothing to do with your internal health, your external health. Responsibilities are the things that are necessary for you to do that benefit you and everything connected to you. If it benefits you and everything connected to you, and you are the one who can do it, you are responsible to do that thing that only you can do. If that makes sense to anybody. But it goes back to how we were saying reciprocity. You know, reciprocity and recursion are necessary in every kind of bond, like whether it be a relationship, whether it be between mother and father, whether it be between like sister and brother, whether it be between father and son. That reciprocity, like even with respect, like with men, respect is a big thing, but respect amongst men got a feeling to it. Amongst men, when you a man amongst men, you can feel when somebody respects you. You can feel when there's some disrespect waiting in somebody and they just too pussy to say it. Excuse my language, but people be pussy physically and non-physically. Excuse me. Or coward. People are filled with cowardice, is what it's called, right? Can't be out here calling people coochie on the internet, Stone. I'm growing. I'm maturing. I am maturing. I ain't there yet, though. You know. But I only said that to say that reciprocity is how we built. We built to receive a return on investment. And right now, it's a lot of times where people are kind of having relationships fall apart. People's friendships is falling apart because people are becoming self-aware of the investment they are, and they realize where I am currently and how my circle is set up. I'm not receiving a return on investment of my me. That's why I'm feeling drained. I'm pouring into people and they aren't pouring back into me, and I'm not pouring back into me. So what needs to happen? I mastered how to pour out. What you do is you master how to pour into you, and then those are the people who you find that are like you and let gravitate around you. Let the people who know how to pour into themselves be who you choose to pour into, because you know how to pour into yourself. That's how they know to pour into you. They're going to give you some of what they got. You know, and it works. Because that's what we had that discussion about a completely different topic. But unconditional love can only be a reused gift. Like you have to use it on you for you to be able to efficiently use it on anybody else. It has to be a reused gift. Don't you give me no love that you ain't used on you and it worked. Don't give me no love you tried to use on you and it failed and made you feel worse. Don't you try to give me no experimental love, because that means it's all those are conditions. Those are actually conditional likings. You can only really say you unconditionally love me if you give me the unconditional love that you use on you and it work. You know? Does that make sense to anybody? Grateful Human, I love you right now, I do. Smokestack Lightning, I love you right now, I do. Lexi Collection, I love you right now, I do. I'm a Virgo. My birthday is August 29th. Me and Michael Jackson, you know. Sarah, you like that? You like that? That's one of my favorite sayings after it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. I think it's a me thing, not a we thing. Unconditional love is a reused gift. And slow down, let me cook, baby. I'm way more gangster than I look, baby. They're my three favorites from 2026 collectively that we've spared in these lives. And you know what's so funny? I used to do music. You know how some of the people in here know I can spit. Like I can spit, I can sing, I can do a few things. The guy who came in here earlier that I was calling my family, that's me, him, and my other friend Sharp, my friend C Sharp. Man, us being in the studio, it was a whole era of my life. It was a whole dope ass era of my life. We used to engineer in the studio for Candy from Escape called The Bakery. It was dope. When Fresh come back in here, I'm gonna have to get him to find one of them CDs with our first single as Young Men. I ain't even gonna repeat it because it's a dope song, but it's extremely provocative. I'm gonna stop. I'm stopping now. Demon Girl Assassin said, "Please stop." Please stop what, Pertel? And now, honestly, it was just, I said all those things to say that when we first started this conversation, we started saying, when did the earth stop growing? If space is expanding and space is ever expanding, it's expanding and contracting like breathing, but the expansion is increasing overall, you know. When did the earth stop growing or stop expanding the informational complexity that it is? And why do we believe that? Smokestack Lightning said, like, spit some now. Man, in a different life. Don't get me started. I'm actually that dude. Like, I'm Mr. All of our kid life. If we sparked up hot box freestyle sessions, we probably got a billion of them. And I mean, not a hip hop, a hippie, hippie to the hip hopper. You don't stop a rocket to the bang bang boogie. You don't jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie DB. Nah, like spitting. Eh. Luna, birthday twin. I love you. 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 The tallest and the brownest right now. Now. I hope you blush a little bit. Straight up though. But yeah, that's a legit question. That is the topic for the day. When did the earth stop expanding? Why do we believe that? And why is that not what the math says? The second angle I want y'all to think about from that for people who are spiritual. Why is everything as above, so below, except where we are if space doesn't stop? Like, if space doesn't stop and everything is as above, so below, then why is everything like that but us? I need y'all. Those are the two questions for today, just for today. You know. And while y'all marinate, do y'all know what time it is? Can anybody guess what time it is? Lady Leash, I love you right now. I do. Welcome, welcome. It is salad